Dead Space 2 Review, a game that makes you crap your pants and write symbols on the wall with the fecal matter. Back in 2008, EA started a brand new IP, Dead Space, and despite lackluster sales and lukewarm critical reviews, myself included, EA vowed to stick with the series, and there was much rejoicing. While Dead Space wasn't anything original, it had something many publishers and studios fail to understand: potential. So even though Dead Space Extraction bombed in terms of sales, EA have got Visual Games to make Dead Space 2, and there was much rejoicing throughout the land. The game takes place 3 years after the events of Dead Space, and Isaac, having been found drifting through space, has been brought to an insane asylum on the space station Titan orbiting Saturn. We begin the game having just been busted out of our padded cell in the middle of a necromorph infestation. Isaac and the player has no more information to go on as they run for their life trapped in a straitjacket. Isaac must break out, find out just what the hell is going on, and attempt to battle his insanity, all by cutting the limbs off monsters. Sometimes you wonder if Isaac is really insane, and it's all just inside his head. At the start of the game, the story is compelling. All the player knows is that there are monsters on the loose. Run away! Then throughout the game, we get contacted and meet up with various characters that each hold a piece of the puzzle, filling us in with information they want us to know, or teasing us about some very fuzzy foreshadowing. Oh, so that's what he meant about crawling into the dark machine. Your monologue right before the end of the game. However, for all the faith everyone had in the franchise, it's clear that was a bit rushed, as the story does start to suffer towards the end, plots left hanging or tied up with vague conclusions. This is also the feeling you get with the general game itself. The early chapters are brilliant design, filled with an eerie suspense after the initial opening shock, with the game carefully probing you with random noises, steam firing off, toilets flushing, and glimpses of something in the shadows. Shush! The corridors and rooms of the vast, highly detailed space station actually looks lived in, and the many logs you find throughout the game helps you imagine the people who live there and what it was like when the necromorphs hit. Then, just when you thought it was all smoke and mirrors, you're getting stabbed in the chest by twisted corpses, or pounced upon by demonic children. The game goes on and off like this for at least the 3/4 of the game, raising the tension, making you jump at the slightest sound, then follows up with a surprise attack from behind. It seems like the perfect horror game. But then at the end, perhaps out of boredom, or an attempt to increase the difficulty level, the devs decided that the room should be chock full of enemies. You're often going to enter a room and have to fight off wave after wave of enemies, making it less horror and more action. The game is a lot more action oriented than the first game. There are loads of set pieces throughout, which are very impressive. Being blown out a window and forced to fight on a gunship springs to mind. The one thing I'm really happy that is returning is the zero-G section of the game. And this time you're not limited to launching yourself off a wall. No, Isaac Clarke now has the jetpack of sorts that allows you to fly around. Good fun. Fighting in the vacuum of space is also back. And as with the first game, Top Marks of Visceral runs again for giving us no sound outside the ones Isaac makes, or the vibrations on the platform he's standing on. It creates a fantastic isolated quality that is pretty much unique to this franchise. If you played the original game, then you're going to be in very familiar territory gameplay wise. Your weapons aren't the bog standard pistol, shotgun, rifle RPG affair, and dispatching the various types of enemies won't rely on your ability to perform a headshot. In this game, the weapons are a bit more, shall we say, eclectic. Fitting in for your pistol, you've got your plasma gun, and for your shotgun, you've got a line gun, both of which fires a stream of plasma that will cut anything in twain. This is especially handy because to defeat enemies in the game, you have to cut off the limbs, not shoot them in the head or unload a mag of ammo into their chest. Then you've got more interesting weapons like the javelin gun that fires an electrically charged javelin, the buzzsaw that hovers a spinning blade in front of you for a few seconds, or the force gun that blows enemies' limbs off with a blast of pure kinetic energy. With 11 standard types of weapons, each for a primary and secondary fire, you'll have plenty of variation on dismembering your many foes. Weapons aren't the only thing in Isaac's arsenal. As with the previous game, you've also got the stasis device that slows down enemies and machines to a more manageable pace, and is a must use in this game, rather than an additional embellishment it was in the first. Everything has been speeded up. Necromorphs, Isaac, even collecting ammo and health is slightly quicker, which means if you're not making good use of the stasis, then you're soon going to be a leg shorter. Isaac's gravity gun style device is also back, and it's no longer a pointless gimmick. While yes, you can still use it to pick up items, you can now use it to pick up all kinds of objects lying around, and then fire them with immense force. Littered throughout the levels are suspiciously spear-like objects, which you can pick up and fire at enemies, pinning them onto the walls on the other side of the room. You can even do this with enemies and dead bodies, which can lead to some dark humour.
Rick Station recognized. Greetings, Station Watchman Howard Phillips.
All weapons, your stasis, and your rig can be upgraded with power nodes found throughout the game, and you can also purchase new, better armoured rigs and ammo from computerized stores. Everything you purchase or find also travels over with you when you start a new Game Plus. And this time the devs went easy on us and allowed you to take your items to another difficulty level. The game itself clocks in at around 10 hours, and you'll want to play it again. A major complaint of the first game was the backtracking. I'm glad to say it's not too much an issue this time round. While yes, there are a few times that you find yourself backtracking, most of the time you're taking different routes for the same areas, making it not so much a case of, not here again. More, hey, I remember this place, it looks a bit different now. Barring a few chapters at the end of the game, which I really can't talk about without spoilers, each area is fresh and distinctive. A hellish church, a seemingly abandoned school, and an orbital solar array overlooking the space station are a few of the more exotic locations you'll be visiting in the game. New to the series is the multiplayer, which is basically a new skin for Left 4 Dead. 4 humans attempt to complete various objectives by standing near computer terminals or transporting heavy items around, while 4 necromorphs attempt to kill the other group in the most painful manner. It's good fun, and it's nice to put the glove on the other foot. Or something like that. Taking control of those creepy children, and now sneaking up on poor old Isaac to jump on his head and tear him limb from limb, is rather consoling. And it's not just demonic children, but 3 other types of necromorph that make up the army, allowing you to control a lot of the creatures that have been in my nightmares of late. This is a similar system to one of the new multiplayer modes that are going to be available in Gears of War 3 incidentally, where the weaker units take longer to spawn than the stronger brethren, although it might take you a few rounds to get used to the various controls. I'm still not sure how to use the Puko effectively yet. Of course, controlling the human team is fun too, but it's basically like playing the main game, so you're going to want to play as the Necros. The more you play online, the more points you earn. And what do points earn, kids? That's right, prizes. Each level you go up, you'll gain an additional skill or item. Maybe a new skin or weapons for Isaac, or increased damage for necromorphs. Sadly, as is the case with all games that aren't Halo or based on some sort of modern warfare, the multiplayer is starting to dry up, so get online now before you personally have to organise 8 people to get a good game going. If you're an achievement hauler, you'll be pleased to know there is no online achievements. The same goes if you're fed up with people not playing the game to win, just to get achievements. Dead Space 2 takes the original flawed game and shines into a perfectly polished game. It provides fantastic atmosphere, palm-sweating horror and suspense, thrilling action sequences, and a fun little multiplayer that'll keep you entertained for a couple of evenings. I would say this is a must-have game, for fans of the series, for fans of horror, and for fans of third-person shooters. Pick up this game now, and you won't be disappointed. This game gets a 9.5 out of 10.